I have never been what you'd call a crying woman until the night something wearing her face started crying back at me. I was there when Selena Gomez's clone saw me and it remembered my face. There is a particular kind of light that exists only in hospitals at night. Not the harsh fluorescent white of daytime procedures, something softer than that. Something that falls through corridor windows like watercolor wash, pale amber and surgical blue bleeding into each other at the edges, painting the walls in colors that have no name. If you've ever seen a Ghibli film, you know the light I mean. The kind that makes even an empty hallway feel like it's breathing. The kind that makes you believe, for just a moment, that something magical might be waiting around the next corner. I used to find that light comforting. I wrote the date on the back of my hand the morning it happened. An old habit, the kind you develop when your body stops trusting your brain to hold on to small things. I'd been running on borrowed sleep for years by then, the kind of exhaustion that doesn't look like anything from the outside. You still show up, you just feel like a copy of yourself, slightly faded, slightly off register, like a watercolor painted over pencil lines that were never quite erased. I need you to understand what I was before I tell you what I saw. I mean that without self-pity. I was a janitor at a private medical facility in Los Angeles. 3 years of the same corridors, the same sounds, the same rhythm of a building breathing in the dark. And in those 3 years, I had learned something profound about invisibility. Doctors look at you and see floor space. Nurses look at you and see background. Security guards nod and then their eyes slide off you like water off glass. You become part of the building. And that invisibility, that small, quiet erasure of my personhood, is the only reason I'm alive to tell you this story. I clocked in at 10 o'clock, signed the sheet, felt the familiar weight of the mop handle settle into my palm like an old handshake. The charge nurse on duty that night was someone I had never seen before. In 3 years of night shifts, 3 years of the same rotating cast of exhausted, kind, overworked faces, I had never seen this woman. She had the kind of stillness that I associate with people who have learned not to waste expressions. She didn't look at me when she held out the restricted access sheet. Her eyes were fixed at something slightly past my shoulder, like she was watching a scene play out behind me that I wasn't allowed to see. 4th floor, Wing C. Off limits tonight. Scheduled maintenance. She was already walking away when she said it. Her footsteps made no sound I could identify. I looked down the corridor toward the maintenance crew station. Their equipment gone. The hooks where they hung their gear were bare. They had been gone for hours. I told myself it was nothing. Facilities management running a private inspection, administrative overlap, the 10,000 small bureaucratic mysteries that fill a hospital night. I pushed my cart toward the elevator and let the thought dissolve. That was my first mistake. The ground floor was familiar in the way a childhood home is familiar. Every corner weighted with muscle memory, every smell a quiet reassurance. The hum of the ventilation system, the distant percussion of monitors, the soft squeak of rubber soles on polished floors. I had mopped this corridor so many times my body knew its own path. And for 1 hour, everything was exactly what it always was. Except for the vehicles. 6 black SUVs in the reserved lot, no hospital plates, engines cold but bodies clean, the way something is clean when it arrived recently and traveled far to get here. I saw them through the lobby window around 11 o'clock and felt something shift in the architecture of my chest. More like the feeling of a song you know playing in the wrong key, all the right notes, completely wrong. I began noticing other things after that. Security personnel I had never seen before, no signal anywhere. In 3 years, I had never lost a signal inside that building. The walls had never eaten sound before. The air changed after that. The only description I have is this: pressure. like the atmosphere itself had drawn tight, like the moment before a storm when the sky holds its breath and every living thing within it goes still. Your body knows before your mind does. Your body is always the first to understand. I pressed the elevator button at 11:47 p.m. Second floor, supply closet. The kind of errand so ordinary it should have been invisible. Nothing happened. I pressed every button. I was on the 4th floor, wing C, the floor I had been told not to enter. The floor where the maintenance crew was supposedly working, except the maintenance crew had gone home hours ago. And in their place were strangers with trained posture and black vehicles, and a corridor that was too long, and IV stands that were all looking at something I couldn't see yet. At the far end of the hall, a door stood open by just enough. A thin line of white light breathed through the gap, and behind that door came a sound so quiet I almost convinced myself I'd imagined it. The slow, deliberate rhythm of something drawing air into lungs for the very first time. All facing the same direction, not the practical arrangement of storage, but something deliberate, something oriented, like they had been placed by hands that knew exactly what was coming. The smell reached me then. Antiseptic, the familiar, almost comforting baseline of every hospital floor I'd ever cleaned. But underneath it, something else, something that had no medical name. The smell of something organic and new, the way rain hits dry earth for the first time, except this wasn't rain. I have tried to describe what happened next in the years since. The best I can offer is this. There are moments when horror becomes so complete, so total, that it folds back into something resembling calm. The terror becomes its own gravity. You don't walk toward the thing because you're brave. Something turned slowly and looked at me with eyes that were learning what eyes were for. Something that smiled, not because it was happy, because it had been learning what smiling looked like, and this was its first successful attempt.